And we are live.
Hi everyone.
Hi, this is Janice Skychi Travels with the Skychi Travel Guide live. And our co-host for today is Diana Chang of Without a License.
Hi everyone. And I have a little small special guest, which is my dog, Maji.
Maji?
Yeah, it's Taiwanese for mochi, like the little rice cakes. And she's really excited
Oh,
to hear voices, so she thinks someone's about to walk through the door, but it's just us. So if she starts barking in the middle of this, just you'll know why. It's because she hears all this noise.
fantastic. That's okay. That's okay. If she barks, that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
she's on her job. She's on her job. So, Diana, so you're from Taiwan originally.
Yes, I grew up in Taiwan. I was there from like the third grade until I graduated from high school, so I was there for like 9 or 10 years. And then I went to Penn State for college, and then I moved to New York, and I've been in New York for like the past 5 years now.
Okay, okay. So, how are you liking New York?
I love it because, well, like my channel states, I don't have a driver's license, so this is like the perfect place to be because of the public transportation and just to get around. So that kind of like buys me some time not to ever learn how to drive, just for a little bit.
So, how did you miss learning to drive? What happened?
Well, the thing is, I can't. This might be a little fuzzy, but I think the driving age in Taiwan was 18. And so then, like, and then at that point, there was also, by the time I went to high school, there was a subway system, the MRT, that was established in Taipei, where I grew up. So, like, by that time, you didn't really need to. My mom drove me around, to go to and from school. There's buses, there's cabs and stuff like that. So there really wasn't a need to drive. The only time I really felt like maybe I should learn how to drive is when I went to college. But by that time, I lived either in the dorms or closer to campus, and I took the bus, or I could just walk to campus. So there really wasn't a big need for me to drive. So I kind of like, you know, stayed under the radar for that. And I've had really generous friends who drive me around whenever I needed somewhere to go, or I just tag along with them when they went like, to go grocery shopping or something like that.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So, I'm going to share a secret. I do not have a car. I live in Chicago.
Hmm.
I did learn to drive. It's just as a flight attendant for 7 years, I really didn't need a car because the plane became my mode of transportation.
What about getting from like your place to the airport then? Well, I guess Chicago
Oh,
have that.
yeah, Chicago has great transportation as well too. I mean, we're a major transportation hub. So I would get rides or I would walk to the train and then take the train to the airport. And so it was an hour ride and I would sleep, I would read, I would do other things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
so
like if you live in a big enough city with like the public transportation, you actually don't really need a car. So it's pretty easy to get around. It's just when you move in when you go to somewhere where it's like everything's within driving distance, like California or something like that, it gets kind of tricky.
yes, 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 that's true. So Chicago, I mean, we have our outlying suburbs where people like can take the metro train. So there's like commuter trains too, but we have good transportation.
Mhm.
So airplanes became my primary way to get around. And then like once I got to a place, then I would take buses or trains there too. So in DC, I would do the same thing. I like cities that are walking friendly and
Yeah.
transportation friendly.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
nowadays, like all these cities are adopting like bike systems, like city bikes in New York and stuff like that. And I know DC they also have it as well. So it's getting easier to get around without actually having to learn to drive.
That's true. Chicago, we have the bikes as well too. I think those are like, oh my goodness, almost North America. I've seen them in Canada. They may be in Mexico. I don't know. That'd be a good thing to find out. But yeah, that's true. You can. You can get around by bike. I never thought about that. Yeah, you pay $7 for the day in Chicago. How much is it in New York?
Don't know in New York. I think for city bikes. I know they charge a fee if you can either have like a monthly membership or else you can do like a rental day, like, and you have to charge it every 30 minutes. Like either you have to go into station and to reload it and stuff like that. For every 30 minutes you have to check in, or else you get charged extra. I think that's how it works.
Really?
Yeah, like you
So
have
you can rent a bike for a month?
no, not for a month, but I feel like it's a monthly membership for reduced fees. I think that's how it
Okay.
works with your bike. But like if you don't have a membership, you can just do it by the day. But you have to charge it every 30 minutes. You have to go into a check-in station and just like load the bike in and then take it out again just to register that you have the bike. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure if you like lost the bike and you didn't choose or you steal the bike, it's like very expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure you have to pay for the bike at that point. Well, we don't quite have that in Chicago. I know we have, what is it, Divvy bikes, Divy, and
Mhm.
you pay $7 for the day, and you can say start at a museum and then ride it to another place in Chicago, like another neighborhood, and park the bike, but you get it for the day for $7, which,
Oh,
yeah, I think is pretty reasonable.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't, I don't think you can do public transportation for $7 here. I think riding is pretty good. And they have biking lanes now downtown. And so do they have those in New York too?
We have biking lanes. It's getting easier to ride a bike here in New York. Like the last couple of years, they've really made it a little bit more bike friendly because there's all these like delivery bikes and messenger bikes going up and down. A lot of people commute on bikes now, so it's getting better. Like there's some bike lanes, and like I live in Williamsburg in Brooklyn, and now from Williamsburg all the way to Manhattan, there's like a designated like bike lane that I could use. So that's easy. Except for I live right next to the subway, so I usually never bike. I just take the subway.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty much on the train as well. Train or the bus.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Yeah,
it's
that.
surprising how like I sometimes take the New York bus, especially to go across town and stuff like that. But there's a lot of New Yorkers that I've met who've like lived here for a long time who've never taken the bus before, which is pretty surprising to me because they just rely on the subway systems, which I guess it's like it's easy because you go up stuff like that. But I actually find it sometimes it's easier just to take the bus.
Wow, so some New Yorkers have never taken the bus.
In New York, yeah. Just because the
Interesting.
subway stop is right there and they would rather just take it. But like, I like to take the bus again to go across town, or sometimes like now they also have some express buses in New York, so it's easier to like instead of just stopping every like 3 or 4 blocks, they just go to like main stops like subway stations. So sometimes you can beat the crowds a little bit because everyone's trying to go to the subway, so you might as well just take the bus.
Okay, okay. So if somebody's visiting New York, where do you recommend that they should go and how they could, I guess, get around on the subway or the buses?
I would say if you're visiting New York, get familiar with the subway system. And a rule of thumb for me whenever someone visits is that I kind of measure how far everything is by Union Square because that's kind of like that Union Square stop on 14th Street. It's kind of the hub of New York because it connects to all these other subway stops. It connects to like the majority of the subway lines, so it's easier to figure out where you need to go by where you are compared to Union Square. One of the places I strongly suggest people check out is the Highline on 14th Street and 8th Ave because it's this not abandoned, like retired railroad, above ground railroad that they've remade into a park. And it spans from 14th Street right now to I think 26th, and they're still expanding it. So it stops at 26th, but you can see that they're still building it out. And I think it's going to go all the way to like 33rd Street or 34th Street or something like that. But yeah, it's grown over the last couple of years, but it's really cool because you get to see like the industrial parts of the railroad, like you see the tracks and everything, but then you see plants growing, there's park benches, and you get to walk along and get to see the river a little bit. And then right underneath the High Line is Chelsea Market, which so you can get food and stuff and snacks while you buy it there and just walk along the High Line.
Sounds pretty cool. I haven't seen that in New York. I need to go and see the High Line. I've seen photos of it, but I haven't visited there. So I
Yeah.
would love to do that. It sounds fun. Chelsea Market too. So is Chelsea Market an indoor or outdoor market or?
Indoor, and it's actually where the Food Network is, where Scripps Network has like the Food Network channel. So sometimes you see like Iron Chef where they go downstairs and they buy stuff and they bring it back up. It's right there.
Wow. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that the Food
They have
Network
a
was
lot of stuff
there.
there, like bakeries, and you can buy like wine and cheese, or you can buy like little snacks, and they sell sandwiches and stuff like that. But there's also like a couple of restaurants in there that you can go in there to buy. But it's really cool, and they also have sell like gift baskets. There's also like a bookstore in there, so it's like a fun time. And there's usually sample sales, so if you want to go to New York for like shopping.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
I'm a little crowded though, just because it is like Chelsea Market and stuff like that.
So Diana, tell us about using the train system in Taiwan, or in Taipei in particular.
Well, in Taipei, the MRT, what they call the metro, the MRT, it it's a little different from New York because in New York you swipe and you go in and and you basically just pay for that one route, and then when you get out of the train, you don't have to pay again. Well, in Taiwan, it's kind of a you have like a what's it called? A card, a metro card, and it's kind of a pass, and you touch it against the screen, and you go in, and then you have to touch it again to get out. So you pay when you get out, and something like that. So you pay by how long you are, how long your trip is. Rather in New York, it's just one fee, one flat rate, and it's like one in New York, it's one flat rate, and you get one free bus transfer. But in Taiwan, it's you pay by how long you're going. So if you're going from one stop into like the next stop, it's a lot cheaper than you riding it all the way to the end.
Okay, that sounds good. So can you take the train from the airport into the city in
Um,
Taipei?
no, right now they're building it out. They're still building it and they're still expanding it. So one day it will reach the airport. But right now it doesn't reach the airport. You can take a bus, like a special shuttle bus, or you can take a cab. There's a lot of cabs in Taiwan.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. So share with everybody a little bit about how you travel
Mhm.
um, with your family.
I there's I have so many. My mom is the traveler of the family, so ever since I was little, usually when there's a vacation or the travel involved, it's my mom at the helm. So it could be either a long road trip, like we used to when we lived in Seattle, we used to take road trips all the way up to Vancouver and then come back for the weekend and stuff like that. But now it's more of she likes group tours, so we've been going to like Japan or like Central Taiwan, or I've even gone to Malaysia with her on these group tours where it's like a big tour bus filled with like other families and strangers that you haven't met before. And it's those, that tour guide where she's holding that flag up and she's like waving and there's like a little Hello Kitty at the end of it or something like that. Um,
Hello, Kitty.
Usually, like, 'cause they usually hang like little dolls at the end of it or a flag so that when they raise it, you can see it. Because you just have to look for that specific icon and be like, oh yeah, that's my tour guide. So you don't get lost with the sea of other tours. Um, it's actually I like it. I don't mind it because it's hassle free. You don't have to worry about where you have to go next or getting lost, and there's someone there to help translate or to help. I even give you some of the background. Normally you wouldn't, or else you would have to like normally get when you research beforehand or like read about it or like you don't even notice when you're there if you're not there with a tour guide. So I like learning a little bit more about that, especially in my first time there, just because I want to know about their customs and their culture and what's right and what's like faux pas or what to avoid or stuff like that. That's interesting for that. And also you don't have to worry about like where to eat. Usually like that tour.
Okay, so the tour guide gives you like the cultural faux pas, like what to do and not to do when you're on a tour.
Yeah. Like they'll even like or I'll yeah. Usually I don't get warnings about what not to do and what to do, but they'll like sometimes tell you like, oh, it's in this culture it's usually like, in Japan it's if you slurp loudly on the food that means it's polite, so don't be like shocked or anything that ever happens or They're very friendly. This place is very friendly and very touristy, so don't get offended if they keep asking you about where you're from and what you want, like if they can help and stuff like that. And so it's like stuff like that, and like, oh, you can barter with them at this market, or you can't barter with them, and informational stuff that you wouldn't really get, and like you just have to trial and error if you aren't there with a tour guide.
Okay, okay. So when you went to Japan, where did you go? Like what cities or?
My last trip was this past summer, and I went to Nagoya in central Japan. So you know how like Japan's like an island, like a long island with a bunch of little ones. I went to the central area of that. So I went to Guju Hachiman, which is like this small like mountain village, and they're actually known for their food displays, where they like make those plastic foods so you see in the restaurant like, oh, this is what they serve in there, but it's plastic, so it's like preserved and stuff like that. So that was really funny. And then it was mostly the time. Well, most of the stuff that I saw in central Japan were like the mountainous areas and more rural and not like city-like and stuff like that. So a lot of hot springs, a lot of mountains. I even saw like I went up to one of their mountains, Tateyama, and it had snow on it, and it was July. No, that was really fun. And like you saw people, and you're like, they're like some people were they were they were like mountain climbing, and we asked them where they came from, and they came all the way from like Mount Fuji, which is like in Tokyo, all the way down to like to here, and they said it was like a week-long hike for them, and they had like their packs, and it was really cool.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So where else have you been then,
Um,
without knowing how to drive?
well, most of the places I've been to was because it was through the tour group. So I've done Japan, Malaysia, I've done Thailand. When I was little, my mom also took me to Korea, but I was like 1 or 2, so I don't remember this at all. I've been to Beijing. I actually went in like around right before the Beijing Olympics, like that year while they were still building it. So I went there, and I got to see the structure and the dome and stuff. Um, yeah, I've been to Canada, and like Toronto and Vancouver. I really want to go to Montreal and Quebec. I've yet to go to Europe, which kills me because I really want to go. And like the one time I couldn't go that summer, I think I was taking summer class or something. My sister and my mom went, and my brother, and they went without me. And I was just like, damn it.
Oh, you get your turn. You still have the rest of the world to explore.
I've been on a couple of cruises too, so I've been to like Mexico and the Caribbeans and stuff like that.
That's great. That's great. So give us some tips on Thailand.
On Thailand, I would say, well, Thailand you can either go to like really nice beaches like Koh Samui or else you can do the city like Bangkok and stuff like that. So there's something there for everyone. Figure out what you want to do and what you want to get out of the not relationship, the travel for it. It feels like travel does feel like a relationship though, because you kind of have to commit and really figure out what you want, and if it doesn't work out, you have to travel a different way.
That's true. That's true. It's like trial and error. So you go there, and sometimes you have an expectation, and sometimes you don't, and sometimes you let things just happen,
Like a
and you may enjoy it or you may not.
yeah.
So that's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, so what did you like to do in Thailand?
What did I like? I liked the beaches. It was really fun there. When I went to like Koh Samui like way back when I was like in high school as a graduation trip, which is kind of cliche now because I feel like a lot of like international school kids, they go to Koh Samui for their graduation trip and whatnot. That was really fun. It was the first time I actually went with like my friends without any like adult supervision because we were 18 and we felt adult-like and stuff like that. And so we were just like on the beach. I got to like ride on an elephant, which is really, really cool. And like they ride an elephant, and like it's not just like a little track that they do a circle. They actually like climb like these little mountains and go through a little stream with them, and you climb down. So that was really cool.
On an elephant, you climbed the mountains?
Like a small hill, like like a small part of the mountain, and then they walk down again.
And so about how long was the elephant ride then?
I think it was around like 30, 40 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
I went with like 6 or 8 of my friends, so it was like 2 on each elephant, so it was like one behind the other. And then
Oh, wow.
you got to like eat next to the beach, and there was like temples there and stuff. They had like in Thailand there's a temple that I went to, and they had like a little Buddha for every day of the week. So that was really cool.
A Buddha for every day of the week. Okay. And so you go and pray to a different Buddha every day?
I think that was the yeah, that was the case. I've never seen anything like that before, so I thought that was really cool. And there was like a giant Buddha statue as well, and we saw like a waterfall right behind the temple, and yeah.
Okay, sounds pretty cool. And what about Malaysia?
Oh, Malaysia was the first time I actually stayed in like a villa that was like right on top of the water. Like it was held up by like poles and stuff. And it was right on top of the water, and there was like a little glass window on the floor, so you could see the water go through like in your like a small it's like a small square on the floor, and you could just see the water underneath and stuff. So that was really cool in Malaysia. The food was really good, and Malaysian Thai food. They also have like some influences with India and stuff like that. So there's a lot of curries and rotis there. So that was really nice, and they had really good fresh seafood.
Sounds great. So that's a foodie trip then.
Yep.
Malaysia's for food.
Malaysia. They also have like milk tea, and theirs is a little bit spiced, so that was really like hot milk tea. And I went during like it was a little cold that I think I went during the winter or something because it was a little chilly when I went to Malaysia, and so having that hot milk tea was so good.
Hot milk tea. Okay, that sounds good. So do you get souvenirs as you go along or?
I do. I just don't know. Like it's just I don't have a specific souvenir that I get, but I feel like I do. Every time I do, I feel like I come back with so much stuff, but I just don't know where it all ends up.
Oh, I understand. I understand. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I used to collect souvenirs like when I have a house, when I had a home, but now I don't anymore. You know, I just do my memories. I take tons of photos and videos. Those are my souvenirs, so that's what I concentrate on now. But so tell people where are you planning to go next year?
Well, my friend is having a little birthday weekend in St. Thomas in December, so I'm going there. That's my nearest trip. And then my sister's getting married in February, so I'm going to Tampa for that. Not really for like, to vlog or anything, that's more because of my sister's wedding. Um, I That's it for now. Everything's kind of tentative and up in the air while I get everything else sorted because I still have to like figure out work and my schedule and stuff like that. And I kind of play it by ear a little bit about like the weekends because sometimes I can hop on a train and go to like Philly or DC, or even Boston. So it's kind of up in the air. I have nothing set planned yet for the rest of the year beyond those two things. So
Well, that's pretty cool that you can get on the train and go to Philly, DC, or Boston from New York. I never thought about that. I think I've done the train from New York to Jersey, but I've never gone further.
hmm yeah, I've
Yeah,
taken
but
the
go ahead.
sorry. Oh, I've taken the bus before from like both buses and stuff like that, but also taken like Amtrak. So it's kind of like just where your budget is and how like what your schedule is. Like if you're really crunched for time, definitely take the train. But if you want to save some money, take the Bolt bus or whatever is available.
Yeah, yeah. The East Coast is nice like that. We don't have very much close in Chicago to take the train to. I think, well, what it's close. St. Louis, maybe. That might be about the closest.
Golden Arches.
Minneapolis. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, but that's pretty cool about the East Coast that you can go to Boston, you can go to Philly. So, so do you have any travel tips then for taking the train from New York to one of the other cities?
I would say to save a little bit of money and save and then get ahead. I would say take a morning train. That way you have the rest of the day to stay in there. And also in the morning train, if you're tired, you can take one of the quiet trains. So it's one of those trains that they have reserved that you don't like. You're not allowed to talk on the phone. You're not allowed to talk loudly, so you're not disturbed. So just take a quiet train, so then that you can sleep and just rest up till you get there, and then you have the rest of the day ahead of you.
Well, how do you know which ones are the quiet trains? I didn't know they had quiet trains.
It has a label on the side of the car, so you can just ask for the quiet car, and like the conductor or the person there who takes the ticket will let you know which car it is. It's like either ahead or you go back or something like that.
Okay. And about how much does it cost?
I don't think it's anything extra. It's just if you can find a seat in the quiet car.
Okay. But how much is it to take the train, say from New York to DC?
I
About.
don't know actually.
Or,
I
or
think
any
it, like the bus is around $30 and stuff like that, but the train it depends on when you buy a ticket.
Okay.
It's kind of like airplane and air flight tickets as well, because it's like when you're leaving, how popular it is it almost sold out?
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't know why trains are similar to airplane tickets. Well, I guess it's under the same act. It's the Railroad Act. I don't know why planes are under the Railroad Act, but they are. Railroad Transportation Act. And I guess, so that is true. I forgot about that. Yes, it does change
Flight
frequently.
attendant for?
Hmm?
How long were you a flight attendant for?
7 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, with the last airline, and then 1 year with another airline. So,
What was your usual route?
oh, I didn't have a usual route. I love the East Coast. I have a family in DC, so I tried to pick up DC as much as I could. But we like, I mean, I could be in DC one day, and then the next day be in Houston, the next day be in LA. I mean, it was all over the place, or Canada. We did.
Do you decide on where you're going, or is it just like and how did you find out? Like, do you just pick up your schedule for that week, and then you're like,
Oh,
oh, I guess I'm going
we
to
would
Canada.
we would bid on our schedule. So first you start on reserve, and reserve you don't have a schedule, you don't have a life. It's like being in the military. They call you up. You have 2 hours to get to the airport. So you pretty much have. And I live 2 hours away. Actually. Yeah, 2 hours. So it was very difficult for me to go through reserve. So and if it's 6 months or less and you miss and you're not on time, you lose your job. So it's very, very stressful to be on reserve and not have a life. But they can call you like at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, something like that, and tell you to be at the airport within 2 hours. And
Oh,
so you have to have your bag packed, you have to have your uniform out, your shoes, like you have to just be ready to go, pretty much, and run to the airport. And so that's what being on reserve is. And then after you get off reserve, some people were on reserve 3 years, 4 years. If they were in Dallas, reserve could go as long as 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
mhm.
But in Chicago, I mean, I was one of the rare flight attendants that lived in Chicago and had a base in Chicago.
Hot.
Most people commute, and so they rush to the airport, and then they have to catch a flight to go and start work.
Hmm.
So I didn't have that. So it's exhausting. Literally, it's very exhausting to do that. So then once I got a schedule, then it went by seniority. And so the oldest person in the class, like, got the number one pick, and then on down. And then every class had the same rotation.
Mhm.
So the oldest to the youngest by age, and then it goes by seniority by year.
Oh.
And so yeah, so you kind of,
It's funny how it goes by age first and then by how long you've been working there.
well, it goes by how long. No, it goes by year first,
Oh,
but
okay.
then I only looked at the people in my class. I didn't look at bidding with everybody by year. I just that's very time consuming. I only concern myself with, I think we were a class of 30 people. Some classes were 60
Mhm.
people. I think focusing on, that amount of people is enough to be bidding against. I wasn't going to bid against 500 or 600 people. I just wasn't going to sit there and look at that many, I mean, some airlines have a lot more than that, in base. I mean, it could be a few thousand.
Mhm.
So I just didn't concern myself with that. I just went by, okay, I know there's 2 or 3 people ahead of me. That was all I needed to know. And I looked at whether or not they lived in Chicago,
Mhm.
and some of them did move here, and some commuted. The ones that commuted, I didn't concern myself with. I only looked at the people who lived in base.
Mhm.
And and sometimes we flew on planes where there were 2 people, 2 flight attendants on a plane, or you could bid on aircraft that had only 1 flight attendant. So I would go back and forth, and I would take my chances. And then it varied by the holidays, because everybody wanted Thanksgiving off or Christmas off, or 4th of July. So that would like push you down in seniority, because the senior people would take that, where they'd have vacation time. So it varied. It really did. But flying around as a flight attendant, I would try to pick up like DC, because you could take the train from the airport into the city and go see the monuments. You could walk around. You could go eat. So that was like one of my favorite cities. Jersey I liked as well, because I could take the train and go to New York, um, which was pretty cool. Because from the Jersey airport to the Manhattan Path
Mhm.
station was like 20 minutes. So it was faster than being in New York trying to get into Manhattan. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
It's actually easier to get to sometimes than it is to like LaGuardia or JFK, especially during traffic.
yeah,
Although
yeah.
one time I would try to go to Newark because I was flying home to Taipei. I was getting from Manhattan to Newark, and it was during rush hour. I was stuck in traffic for like 2 hours. I barely made my flight. It was insane.
I can imagine. That had to be
And I'm like,
stressful.
this is why I don't drive.
Yeah, yeah, the stress is, yeah, that can be something else. I know, yeah, that's why, like, after a flight, I'm happy that I don't have to drive home. I can just sleep on the train, because usually I'm so exhausted after like a 4-day trip or a 5-day trip that I would just sleep for the 2 hours. So that was pretty convenient. So that's one thing I like about the train. I definitely do. So tell people about a little bit about your channel without a license, your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. It's actually just finished their 1 year anniversary. I can't believe I've actually had a channel for 1 year. It started off just because my day job, I work in VFX. I'm a post producer. So I knew a little bit about editing and then about videos and stuff like that. And I watched YouTube all the time. And I love to travel. And I'm consistently traveling back to Taiwan. So I figured I might as well do something that I like in my downtime and something that I know how to do. So I started putting together all these little videos and started putting it on the YouTube channel, and that's kind of how it grew from there. And also, I want to take advantage of the fact that I live in New York, which is like, one of a big tourist place and a big visitor's guide and stuff like that. So I figured might as well document it now, and like, some people might find it informative or entertaining, like, who knows?
That's a great idea. So what kind of videos have you done on New York? What kind of
Um,
vlogs?
I've done a donut video. My very first video was actually a donut shop that I went to, which is like around, like near my neighborhood. And it's a vegan donut shop. It's one of the really good donuts. It's called Downwell Donuts. And then a couple of other stuff I've done was like the Dumbo Arts Festival, which is this huge festival in the Dumbo area in Brooklyn. And it's like all these artists, they open up their galleries for like for people to just, you can walk around the streets and you can just go and buy art if you want to, or you can just look at it. And there's installations and there's like photography and there's like, you know, even like technological art pieces and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And they just open up the whole neighborhood so you can make a day out of it. And you get to see like the Brooklyn Bridge and it's beautiful. And they do that every year. And then I also went to New York Comic Con, which was my first time at any Comic Con, the first time I videoed about that. So I made, because it was my first time, that's kind of one of the first videos I made about, like, you know, what to expect, what's it like to go as a first timer, which is like me and stuff. And it was really overwhelming, but I had a lot of fun, and I went back this year again. I didn't vlog about it, but, like, you know, it was really fun. So, like, because I now have that YouTube channel, so I'm constantly thinking about where to go and what to do, and that's actually opened up a lot of opportunities and made my life a little bit more exciting, to be honest, because it's like, you know, I get to go places and I get to do stuff I normally wouldn't do, but now I have that extra motivation, like, oh, I have to because I don't have anything to talk about this week, so let's go film something.
Sounds great. So when you went to Comic-Con, did you wear a costume? Did you dress up as a
did.
character?
I did. Their video
Which
here.
one?
I went as Penelope Von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph. You know the little
Oh,
girl with the candy in her hair and everything?
oh, you're gonna have to show me a photo. I'm not familiar.
I will find it. And then, yeah, and then, oh, it's also because I started, I went to Taiwan and my mom's taking me out to all these trips and stuff like that. My family takes me to all these trips. So I wanted to document those as well. So I actually have a couple of videos of Taipei as well. And I noticed someone had a comment and they asked about, in terms of festivals, when is the best time to travel to Taipei. I strongly, strongly recommend you guys go during Chinese New Year, which is around January, February, because A, Taiwan is really, really stinking hot during the summer. It's like 90 degrees, and it gets really humid and really sticky. So if you go in the winter time, like when I go back, my mom is freezing at the time, and she's always wearing a leather jacket and like or a puffy jacket and sweaters, and I'm just like in a like light sweater. I'm like, this is great. Oh my god, it's so breezy. And mom's like, aren't you freezing? I'm like, I'm from New York. Like this is good. This is great weather. So you go there for for Lunar New Year, anyways, and it's like a week-long festivities, all these good food, all these decorations, and it's like a lot of good times. It's also around that time, around like March, February, is when there's a Taiwanese Lantern Festival, and like they light all these lanterns, and they lift it up, and they kind of like make a wish, and you like let it fly up, and I think in Pingxi, Pingxi. That's where they're known for those like all those lanterns. I think they actually did it in like one of the episodes of The Bachelorette a long time, like a couple of years ago. Like they went to Taiwan, they lit a lantern, and like it's one of those big paper lanterns, and you light a fire and like it floats up. That's really beautiful. Yeah, usually if you go to Taiwan, go for the food. The food there is so cheap and amazing. Like my cousin always jokes at the fact that Taiwan's kind of like a dollar store, because everywhere you go, like especially the night markets, which is like basically a night street fair of food vendors and everything, you just get the best like food for like $1. It's like little street foods and snacks and stuff like that, and it's really good.
Wow. So how much is the dollar to what is the Taiwanese currency?
It's NT, New Taiwan Dollar, NTD, but we usually just call it NT. It's around like 30 NT is around I think $1. So that's
30.
how I kind of gauge it. So 300 NT is around $10. 3,000 NT is about $100 and stuff like that. So that's how I usually gauge it. It fluctuates a little bit, but around 30 NT is to $1 is basically the rule of thumb.
Okay, so is it expensive for hotels there? Food is cheap, street food is cheap, or $1, but how about hotels?
Hotels are fairly there. Depends on you. Well, it's like any big city. Like if you go to like a boutique hotel, it's a little bit cheaper. They also now have hostels, which I never really noticed before until I went back this year. And there's like these backpacking hotels that you can just go for the day and stuff like that. And they also have really fancy hotels. Like they have the Hyatt, they have the W and stuff. So if you want to like splurge a little bit, you can have those. But there's also smaller hotels that are fairly cheap. But like, so you can always find something within your budget. And because there's the MRT station, so you don't have to really worry about if you're far away from anything. But if it is your first time in Taipei, I do recommend you stay at a hotel nearest to Taipei main station because that's the hub. That's basically where it connects to all the there's like 4 or 5 lines. There's like the blue line and the red line are the main ones, and there's small like orange lines and green lines, and they go everywhere, brown lines and stuff like that. But Taipei main station is the hub where you would want to stay.
Okay. And so is it expensive then for Americans to go to Taiwan or to Taipei?
A little bit, just because of the flight. The flight's the most expensive part because it's like, $1,500 to $2,000 for a round trip ticket.
1,500 to 2,000?
Yeah, for a round trip ticket, and that's just economy. But then it kind of evens out when you get there because the food and like everything else is just so cheap.
Well, so how much how much is like a Hyatt then?
Hyatt? I don't know. I'll have to look into.
Or well, where did you guys? Okay, well you have family there, so you're not
I
staying.
usually live with my parents and stuff like that when I go visit and stuff. But it's also if you go to like Taipei, it's also because it's like the city in Taiwan, so it's a little bit more expensive as if rather compared to you going to visit somewhere like southern Taiwan or the middle of Taiwan, central Taiwan, like Taichung or Tainan, which has a lot of like it's not as big as a city as Taipei, but there's still like cabs there and like there's like city life, there's hotels and stuff. So those will be
So,
cheaper than staying in Taipei.
okay, so how would someone find, I guess, a group tour for Taipei? Since we don't speak the language, like I don't speak the language, if I wanted to do a tour, or do people speak English?
Well, a lot of people speak English in Taipei. They've added English into their curriculum from like I think like starting from like 10 years ago. So a lot of people know a lot of basic English, and they're more than happy to help. The thing about Taiwanese people is that they're really, really friendly to the point of being a little nosy. Like they'll keep asking you and keep asking you and stuff like that. But it's because they actually do legitimately want to know and they actually care. From what I feel like they actually do care. So it's like it's a little bit annoying sometimes because they're always in your face like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" You're like, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing." But if you're lost and stuff, a lot of people are happy to help. And
Well, that's good.
know some basic English and everything in Taiwan from the like the subway stations and the public transportations and even street signs, there's English underneath it, so you won't get lost.
Oh, that is great.
hmm And a lot of students, if you're lost in Taipei, look for a younger person because like those people have the younger generations have learned English and stuff like that, so they do have a basic understanding of English. Maybe if you see like an older 70, 60-year-old man, maybe not, but if you see someone from between the ages of like 16 to like 40 or 50, they'll know some basic English.
Those are good tips. Those are good tips. So, what are some places to go and see in Taipei?
Definitely go to the night market. If you never went to the night market, you kind of miss out in Taipei because that's the best part about Taiwan. It's like their night market. There's a bunch of Taiwan night markets around. I think the main one to go to would either be the one in Tianmu or the one in Yonghe. So like definitely research the night markets. It's easy to get to. It's right off the subway stops and stuff like that, and they're nightly every night and stuff like that. So you definitely find the time to go, and you'll see that you'll get to eat like traditional Taiwanese like street vendor food, just like the heart of Taiwan. I think it's the best food, and also you have to try Ding Tai Fung, which is the dumpling stuff, the Michelin star dumpling, the soup dumplings. They're really good. I just actually posted a video about that a couple weeks ago about that. And if you're there during the summer, eat the shaved ice, which is it's like a dessert that they kind of sell everywhere, and it's just like shaved ice, and they put like condensed milk on it and like fresh fruit. Taiwan has really good fresh fruit. They like grow everything from like bananas to papaya to star fruit to lychee and stuff like that. So definitely If it's in season, go buy, and they sell fruit everywhere, like on the side of the street and stuff like that, and just eat it. It's so good.
Wow, great, great. Oh, those are some great tips. Now I'm ready to go to Taiwan. I never even thought about going before. After talking to you, I'm ready to plan a trip there. I'm definitely interested in trying the street market food at
Mhm.
night.
And also, the thing to note about Taiwan is if you love seafood, because it's an island, they have really fresh seafood, and a lot of their food is either seafood based or pork based. But they also, because a lot of them, it's a lot. There's a lot of Buddhism and Taoism in Taiwan, so there's a lot of vegetarian options as well. So there's those. I think, yeah, mostly it's pork based, and seafood is the majority of the meat stuff in Taiwan.
Okay, so pork or seafood.
Mhm.
Well, I would definitely go for the seafood.
Seafood is so good there. Oh my god! If that's the case, then you should really try the oyster pancake or the oyster omelet, however you want to call it. It's like the street food, and they put oysters, and they crack an egg on it, and put a little batter, and they put lettuce on it. It's my favorite.
Oyster pancake. Well, next time you go, you have to do a video about it.
I did.
Oh, you did? Awesome. So what's the name of that video?
I went to this traditional day market, which is kind of like an old school like grocery store. Basically, it's just it's like the night market, but during the day, obviously. And it's all these vendors and stuff like that, and like people go there to get their grocery, or they just get their breakfast as they get to work and stuff like that. So I got an oyster pancake there. So if you look at my channel, I have a video called Traditional Night Market, and towards the end of the video, I ordered oyster pancake omelet, and it's really good.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. So can you cook?
Yes, I'm not as good as a cook as my mom, but I've been learning. It's kind of like my mom, because my mom is such a good cook, and she controls the kitchen. So when I was growing up, it's like stay out of mom's way, because you don't want to like mess with perfection kind of situation. Like get out of my kitchen. So then I didn't really learn to cook until after I graduated college, when I'm like, oh, so this is my own kitchen. What do I do with it? Start experimenting and stuff. I'm trying to learn to cook Asian food. It's easier. It's actually easier to cook for me, Western food, because there's like food channel and cooking shows, and like it's easier to find recipes online. Although, hold on one second, let me grab my book. I did get an Asian recipe book that I've been trying to cook through. Hold on one second.
Okay.
So yeah, so this is the recipe book I've been trying to cook through recently. It's called the Asian Grandmother's Cookbook, and basically the author, Patricia, she she went and interviewed different grandmothers from different ethnicities, from like Korean to Indian, stuff like that, and got the recipes from them. So it's authentic, and she basically adapted it to use American ingredients or stuff that you can find in the grocery store, or if it's like or if it's a specialty thing, she tells you where to find it and how to get it and stuff like that, and what to look out for. So it's a lot easier for me, because I'm just like, I want to cook Taiwanese food, but I grew up with the traditional Taiwanese food, so I'm like, how the hell do I make that here? Yeah. And then so when I asked my mom about it, I'm like, oh, Mom, how do you make this? She's like, oh, it's easy. You grab this and this and this. And, of course, she says it all in Chinese. And I'm like, I don't know how to look for that in the grocery store. I don't know what it's called in English.
So does the book translate then from what the ingredients are in one language to another language, your cookbook?
Hmm?
Are there, are there,
No,
are there translations?
it's all in English. But sometimes they'll do like a background story about the grandmothers and stuff like that. And like if there's like a specific special special like ingredient, like the tapioca pearl and stuff like that, they'll do a little description of it and like the background to that.
Fascinating. I remember when we lived in Turkey. I went to the British consulate, and the wives that lived there, they created a cookbook. So it was a British American, I guess, translation of dishes that you could find somewhere, British dishes, somewhere American, somewhere Turkish dishes, and they created a cookbook, and they told you like substitutes, for like the tapioca
Mm-hmm.
of what you could go to the market in Turkey and buy that was close and make it, similar to a Turkish dish. So I love Turkish food. I love Turkish food. I learned to cook,
Oh, so
they
cool.
make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pilaf, rice pilaf dishes. It was amazing the variation of rice dishes there. Oh, wow. So I definitely miss that. And they have lots of vegetarian options too. I mean, they do have a lot of lamb,
Mm-hmm.
but they also have a lot of, like, you can go into these cafeteria style restaurants and they have like a glass window and you go by and you choose the dishes that you want. And some of them were like all vegetarian dishes. And
Mm-hmm.
there are just so many ways that they prepare food. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God. I'm getting hungry now. We're talking about this food.
Well, this is what happened when you put a hangout right at dinner time.
I know. I didn't eat yet.
I was thinking about, like, should I eat first before I hang out, or should I just wait till after? And I'm like, I'm actually not that hungry, so I'll just wait till after. But then we
I
started
know.
talking.
Yeah, that's funny. So we'll have to have you cook a dish or something out of the cookbook on a hangout. Maybe I'll get in the kitchen and try and do a Turkish
Well,
dish
next
on
time the
the
hangout will
hangout.
just be us in the kitchen, and I'm like cooking while trying to talk to you.
Yeah. We'll have a cook-off competition. But then we'll have to ship it to each other so we can try the dishes. I don't know. Oh my goodness. So that's pretty cool. So are there any other questions did you see come across? Because I can't see the YouTube. I know we have a viewer, and I told them to post on YouTube. Let me see
YouTube?
if
Oh,
she
sorry,
was
I was
trying.
talking about hangouts. Hold on, let me check. Let me go back. I was just opening it in a new window.
Oh, darn. Let's see.
Down there. In the kitchen, and I'm like cooking
But
while
then
trying
we'll
to
have
talk
to
to you.
ship it to each other so we can try the dishes. Oh I don't know. No. Wait, I gotta stop that. Goodness. So, is that still there?
Yep, I'm still
So
there.
are there
Sorry,
any
it's just
other
me.
questions did you see come across? Because I can't
That's
see
why. Sorry, it's like I'm opening up 2 pages on the side, and like it just pops up. Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's you? I thought it was me. Okay, get off YouTube then. That was a bad idea. I forgot. You have to mute it. And so yeah. Okay, forget it. Sorry about that. If you're on, but I don't see comments coming across, so you will have to ask us questions later. But I don't see any comments, so
Checking YouTube, or are you
I
checking
apologize.
Hangouts? So,
Hmm?
are you checking YouTube, or are you checking the Google Hangouts page?
I'm back on the Google Hangout page. I was trying to do YouTube, and then I heard the reverb, and I said, okay, I can't go there. So that's okay.
Hmm.
Well, we appreciate you watching us. We'll answer the questions later if you have any questions.
A question like at my page or on my Twitter. Here, let me see if I can draw stuff. Hold on. Where do we?
Are you
Where,
going to draw some stuff?
yes, I'm trying to find that draw. Where is it again? Oh no, that's headwear. Um,
It's
I
on the left, the pencil
I can't
on
find
the
it.
left.
My pencil's not there anymore. That's weird. So, oh, here it is.
Oh, it's
I've
at the bottom. It moved.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. So while you're looking for that, Diana, when do you upload your videos? When can they see your new videos?
I'll post every Monday. So usually I shoot it over the weekend and I edit it on Sunday, and then I post it on Monday.
Okay.
You need to run draw for me to run it. That's odd.
I do?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'm running it.
Okay, so I'm typing up my Twitter and my website. Hold on. So for me, this is me.
Oh, okay.
So my YouTube is below, as you can see in my overlay. So I usually post every Monday. But if you have any questions, feel free to tweet me at Without a License. I mean, make sure it's not Comic Sans, because that's an ugly font. Here we go. I'll put it on. I'll actually make this white so you can see it. Put it right on top of my head, right there. So that's my Twitter. So tweet me if you have any questions.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll try to answer them as much as I can. Yeah, and if you guys like what I have to say, you can subscribe to my channel and leave comments there as well. Obviously, I read everything, so just, and I'll keep posting them, and we'll see how that goes.
Oh, let's see. Well, I guess mine will be on my forehead. I don't know where else to put it here. I've got several of them floating around. I don't know what I'm doing with this draw. But that's my Twitter. I'm at Skychi Travels. I have lots of them. So yes, we can tweet each other.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, maybe that's a little better. That was a good idea to draw that.
Yep.
Well, this has been fun, Diana.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Made me hungry, but that's a good thing.
Well, you're talking about travel, so you can't talk about travel without talking about food.
Absolutely, and I am a foodie.
I'm a huge foodie. Because you can't really not be a foodie if you live in New York, because they have everything. Because they have Chinatown, they have Little Italy, they have Curry Hill, which is Murray Hill, but it's all these Indian Pakistani restaurants and Bangladeshi restaurants, just in this one little area. And there's also Koreatown, and then there's all these different area eating districts in New York. So you can't not be a foodie when living in New York.
Interesting. Chicago's a foodie town too.
Yeah, you're meat and potatoes.
What?
You're meat and potatoes in Chicago.
No, no. We used to be. We used to have the steak, the slaughterhouses, but no, Chicago's more than that. We're a gourmet food city. We have a Little Italy, we have a Chinatown, we have all those places.
And also your deep dish pizza.
We do have deep dish pizza. We do, but Chicago's more than that. We have Indian restaurants. Oh my God, you can come and eat around the world here. Oh yeah.
I want to go to Chicago and try what's that restaurant called? Girl and the Goat, I think. That's
Girl and the Goat?
Or something like that. There's a restaurant like that, and because
Billy Goats.
No, I don't think it's Billy Goats. Hold on, let me find the name of it.
Okay. I haven't heard of Girl and the Goat, but there are a million restaurants here.
Yeah, Girl and the Goat in Chicago. It was opened by one of the winners of Top Chef. I think she was a winner, but she was definitely one of the top contenders that season, and she went to go open that restaurant. It's supposed to be really good.
Wow. Okay, I'll have to look for Girl and the Goat then. I'll have to check that out. So you watch a lot of the cooking shows, I see.
Yeah, that's actually kind of how I learned how to cook, because in college you just watch Food Network in the background and stuff like that, and you keep watching and cook, and you keep watching, and you suddenly realize a lot of techniques they keep repeating itself, and you're like, oh, okay, so if I put this and I would chop in onions and garlic, maybe that's the kind of situation. So that's kind of how I learned how to get the basics of cooking, and then I actually started cooking, and then that kind of all came together.
Ah, okay. Sounds good. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So what is your favorite dish that you like to cook?
My favorite dish that I like to cook, I like to bake. And one of the things I like to bake is I like to bake apple pie because I love apple pie. I like more to eat than I like to bake, but I like to bake apple pie just because then I get to eat that. But the things one of my favorite things I like to cook on my spare time is I like to make actually the budae-jjigae, which is this kimchi stew. And you get like kimchi, the red pepper paste, and you make your broth, and you add in all the stew stuff, and you have the spicy tofu stew that you put in noodles in, and that's really good.
Sounds wonderful. Well, we're going to have to continue our conversation next week for food. Maybe we'll come up with a way to get in the kitchen.
Yeah. Hey,
So
well, thank
thank
you
you,
so much for letting me
Diana.
be part of this.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. It's been fun. It's been fun. So, well, we will both go eat now.
Yes, we're gonna go eat. You guys who are watching are probably eating already, so you guys are lucky.
Yes.
Now we're gonna go eat. And so, tweet us, comment, leave comments. Let us know if you have
Yes.
any questions or any follow-ups or
Thumbs up.
questions about future topics that we can talk about.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yes, and
Mhm.
subscribe to Diana's and look for her channel for Monday for her uploads too. So yes, yes, that's a great idea. So yes, leave comments, ask questions, and let us know what you would like to see next week.
Yep,
And we'll give you a shout out.
for sure.
All right. Thanks, Diana. Bye. So how do you say bye in Taiwan?
Um,
Taiwanese?
well, Taiwan has two dialects. It's either Mandarin or traditional Mandarin or Taiwanese, which is like a little dialect. So in Mandarin, it's 再见,
Satien?
再见, 再见.
Saitien.
Yes. And then in Taiwanese, it's,
Saitien.
I know it's a small difference. 再见.
Well, I didn't hear the difference.
I know it's a small, small difference. All right, so we'll just say bye. Just say bye.
Bye. All right. Have a good one.
Yeah.
See you.